Welcome to my channel. In this tutorial, I will show you how to prepare fabric prints, appliques, embroidery, and other surface details and import them into Clo. Check out my other videos in the series for more information on how to create digital twins of historical garments, and follow my Patreon in the description below for additional support. Thanks. Let's get started. All right, to prepare this texture, we are going to do this entirely in Photoshop. We're going to take the image that we digitized in a previous video in this series, and the goal is to take it from here to here. So we're going to do quite a bit of cleanup, and then we're going to make it a tileable texture so that in Clo it can repeat as many times as it needs to in order to honor the original garment. So step one is to make sure that this image is scaled 1:1 the way it would be in real life. So for example, I've already counted all of these squares, and there are 39 across and there are 40 down. So that should be 39 by 40 inches. We want this image to actually be 39 by 40 inches. So I'm going to go to image size, and then I want to type in 39 by 40 inches here. So here's the thing. I noticed that for some reason, and I have no idea when this happened, this already is 39-ish by 40 inches-ish. And I actually think that this is more accurate than if I was to type in 39 by 40, because I can see that there is a little bit of a sliver on the edge of this image here. So I actually have no idea why this came in exactly 1:1, but we're going to go ahead and leave it. If yours didn't, just type in whatever numbers you have. If you only know the width and you don't know the height, or vice versa, you can make sure that you constrain the aspect ratio, making sure this little link is connected. You could automatically type in the height, and then the width would change proportionately. But I'm going to go ahead and press cancel because mine is already scaled. All right, the next step is to identify the tileable portion of your tileable pattern. So what I mean by tileable is that there is a distinct repeat in the pattern. Usually this is because of a print, for example. That might be the tile of the print. Like if it's a block print, it's every time that block made a print. Or in this case, there's a repeat in the embroidery, but it only repeats across. It doesn't repeat up and down. So this is, I guess, like a two-way tileable pattern. It's not tileable in all directions, just two of them. So where does this repeat? I see a giant flower here and a giant flower here. So this is clearly maybe, it repeats from this flower to this flower, and then it just kind of ends at the top and the bottom. So what I want to do is grab the perspective crop tool, which is right over here. You might have the crop tool. Just click and hold on this button down. Probably it's hidden under the crop tool. And then choose perspective crop tool. And then I want to make a box that contains exactly one tileable inside of it. Now, of course, it's easy to identify that the tile repeats on these big flowers here, but I would advise you not to make this tile in the most obvious spot. So, because there will inevitably, because this is not a perfect image, be a seam wherever this box is. And if we put that seam right in the middle of our biggest feature, it's going to be more obvious and it'll be harder to disguise. So I'm going to maybe look for a less obvious place, maybe right in between these flowers right here. Maybe I put that down there, and then I will want to drag this over there the same. And then height-wise, I'm just kind of making sure that these line up because I don't have a vertical repeat to use as a reference point. I'm just kind of lining them up there to that longest, the furthest down portion. And then I'm holding shift to kind of make sure that it stays in line. So how about we move that there, hold shift, and then put it back. And so I'm kind of looking not just at where this point lands, although that can be really helpful. If there was like a flower here, we could really use that to anchor this point. But I'm looking all up and down this line as well. So this looks pretty good, but I'm going to need to kind of make some adjustments up here. So the tallest portion up here is this little stem here, and I'm trying to see what we could do. Maybe we line up it. Again, this would be easier if we had more flowers to use as references. But now I'm kind of looking at this side of this edge of this flower. And maybe I should kind of lock this also, in line here, and then use shift to kind of pull up just to make sure I'm not distorting this pattern either. So actually that looks really nice. I think that'll work nicely to use kind of the edge of this flower as reference. But everyone's pattern is going to be different. And something to note too is that your pattern, just like mine, may not be perfectly square, and that's okay. The pattern, like the repeat of the tile itself does not need to be squared. Like it can be rectangular, but it shouldn't be like, a parallelogram. This is giving a little bit of parallelogram here, so maybe I do kind of want to pull this over and maybe intersect that leaf there. It could be easier for you to just use the crop tool in this case, but the chances are that even if we have everything lined up perfectly, that there's still some distortion within the garment itself. So that's why I'm using the perspective crop tool here. And I think this looks pretty good. I'm looking all up and down this line, and I think that the way the things are intersecting is going to be reasonable, but we'll know pretty soon because we're going to go ahead and press enter, and that is our tile. All right, before we go any further, we're going to go ahead and clean up this image. This is going to be the easiest time to do this because we will have less to do before we're going to actually, tile this more. So now we've cropped everything out. Let's go ahead and delete the background because we're going to want to replace the background with a different texture in Clo. We just want to work with these flowers. So I like to use the magic wand tool, which is right here in the toolbar. And you can play with the tolerance here to figure out, what works for your pattern. If you click and it grabs everything, then maybe you want to turn down the tolerance. If you click and it's like little pieces at a time, then maybe you want to turn it up. But I'm just clicking around everything that isn't the flower pattern until I get it all selected in these boxes. It doesn't need to be too perfect. It's actually quite forgiving because we're used to seeing fabric look not perfect. There's just inherent flaws in it anyway. So it's okay to leave some of this, and it can even give some realism and some variation later on. So like this looks pretty good to me. I'm going to go ahead now, since I have the entire background selected, I'm going to unlock the background layer by clicking this lock here. And then I'm going to hit delete, and it's gone. So deleting the background is really important if you have an applique or a lace that you want to get rid of, and especially if you want to see transparent where there isn't your texture. But if you're working with an all-over print, then there's no need to delete the background. You can go ahead and just use the print as is. Okay, so now is the time when I really want to make sure that this color is adjusted and looks the way that it's supposed to in real life. So this is when I'm going to pull up my other reference images for color reference, so I can make sure that I'm honoring the true color of this garment, because this looks pretty bleak to me right now. So let's go ahead and add a new fill or adjustment layer over here in the layers window. And I'm going to go ahead and add a brightness contrast and kind of pop up the brightness here. I did this earlier and I thought 47 looked pretty nice. And then I'm going to bump up the contrast too, and I think 2 is good. And still, we think we need the saturation and even some of the hue. This is like a much cooler pink. So let's add the hue saturation layer here, and let's make that -15 on the hue. And then we'll bump up the saturation quite a bit to 23, maybe 20. That might be nice. Okay. So you can keep playing and, making these adjustments. Levels might be nice. This is not the tutorial for this type of adjustment, but just know that this is the time to do this. And so you can look up other tutorials on YouTube on how to adjust images in Photoshop. Okay, now it's time to make this texture tileable. So in order to do this, we need to double the size of the canvas in whatever directions that this is going to tile. So in a tileable texture that tiles 4 ways, then you'll need to double both the height and the width. But in this one, just because it's only 2 ways, we're only going to double the width. So I'm going to go to Image, Canvas Size this time. Last time we were in Image Size. This time we're in Canvas Size. And I'm going to switch my width option to %. So both the width and the height are currently saying 100%. And if I had an all over tile, I would make this 200% width and 200% height. But I only have a tile that's going to tile along the width. So I'm going to leave the height actually at 100 and just keep the width at 200. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. All right, and now this is the fun trick. What we're going to do is take this image, make sure my little grabber is selected up here, which is the V hotkey, and I'm going to go ahead and drag it to the edge of this and place it using my little pink guidelines to make sure it's all lined up. And then I'm just going to select it and then press Command or Control C and then Command or Control V to paste a second version. And I'm going to put that, oh, it's selecting both of them. I'm going to put that one right over here. And now we can see what that seam looks like. It's going to look the exact same way when it tiles beyond this. We can actually look here at our seam right here. If I make any adjustments, I am going to want to then duplicate it again, so to make sure those adjustments happen on every tile. So for example, if I'm moving this down, I probably only want to move like I'll lasso just like right here, and then make sure I'm selecting that right layer, and that I only move this piece down like that. Because if I moved the whole thing down, it would then move here and then it would mess it up over here. So it's a little bit of a mind trick, but we have to think of these things as how they tile. You can use other types of tools as well, but the important thing that you need to know is that whenever you've made any of these edits, then we want to go ahead and copy this new layer and then paste it over. Whoops. Over here. And you might have noticed that something bad happened, and that's because this new layer went above our adjustment layers, and now it's back in business. One last thing before we export is if your pattern in Clo looks really like repeated and like kind of like you can really see the obvious repeat, it's worth going back to that first step, and instead of grabbing just one repeat, try to grab a couple of the different repeats. So work with a larger area that already has many repeats inside of it. All right, so let's go ahead and export this. I'm going to go to File, Export, Quick Export as PNG. The PNG is important because it will save the transparency that we made when we deleted the background. All right, we are back in Clo now and ready to import our texture that we just edited. So we have 2 ways we can import these types of appliques or prints into Clo. And one is by clicking on the fabric that your garment is made out of, and then scrolling down in the property editor to where it says base color, you can choose underneath base color map, these 4 little squares, and then find the image on your computer, and it will import it as an all over pattern automatically. And this is great if your pattern is like the print of the garment, or if it's like a plaid or something that even like a lace where it is inherent in the way that the fabric is made. But it's maybe not so useful for an applique where we really want to make it go on top of another fabric. So right now, because of the transparency, it's always going to be transparent where there's no flowers. So yeah, if this was a lace, then this is really beautiful. And actually, I kind of am obsessed with it, but that's not what the garment actually is. So, and this is a good method for, again, prints, a lace, if it was like an all over lace or anything else that is relevant to the entire fabric, but for something that's only placed a couple times or even has like a transparency that you need to see another fabric through, then we need another option. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the little trash icon to delete that. And I'm going to go to the graphic 2D pattern tool, select that, and then find my texture again. And then I'm just going to click on the piece where that texture needs to be placed. And then this window will pop up and it's asking me for the size of the pattern. And if we did step 1, where we actually scaled this properly in Photoshop, then this should be exactly the right size. Because I've done other things with the tile, like I actually don't know what the real size is supposed to be. So that's why it's really helpful that we did it back in Photoshop. So just trust the process and click OK. And there it is. Now in Clo, you can see it's not tiling automatically. To change the actual tile, you have to actually click the graphic using the transform graphic tool. And then the settings for just that graphic on that piece appear. So this doesn't apply to every time you use this graphic, just when it's just this particular graphic that we just selected. And I can choose tile, x-axis, and now it'll repeat infinitely along the x-axis. If it wasn't all over pattern, we could choose pattern and it would repeat up and down as well, but that's not necessarily what we want. And then the same with the y-axis. And now is the time when you can use your reference to place this specifically. For now, this is where we'll end today. I hope this was helpful in your journey, and let me know in the comments if you have any specific questions. You can also reach out to me on Patreon, and I am happy to help.